Hey, everybody in the chat. How is everybody? Gleeson, I've just called you Gleeson. Jess, can you hear me? Can you actually unmute your mic now?
Yeah.
Cool. Called, hey, Gleeso, how are you, mate?
G'day.
G'day,
The
mate.
postie calls me that.
Oh, really?
The postman every Saturday who will be like, Gleeso.
Gleeso. I've never called you Gleeso in my life, so I don't know why that just came to me then. That's so funny.
The amount of times I get Gleeson too, and it's like I didn't think it'd be that difficult, but
Gleeson. Well, everybody
Gleeson.
in the chat, it's like we have a chat full of people. Everybody, please welcome the lovely Jess Gleeson. I can see everybody's here. We've got Iona, Lucia, Aaron. You are such a legend. I just saw you subscribed for your third month in a row, and you now have your number 3 bomber jacket, which is, look at that. Look at that drip. So cool. Anna is here, Grace and Asia. We have Thrillish here tonight. Hello. We've got Gab, Mecca. Yeah, Gab's here. Mecca Mackenzie as usual. Amber Lee. Rebecca Holden's here tonight. Hi, Rebecca.
Aww.
So nice to see you
Hello.
here. We've got the lovely Sharon, Matt Waddingham, as per usual again, you bloody legend. Did I say Grace? Grace Alina's
Yes.
here. Who else is here? Chloe. Oh, so great. How is everybody tonight? Everyone's going well. I'm really excited about this chat with Jess. Jess said she's a little bit nervous, but I told her, do not stress. Everybody's so lovely.
It rhymes with my name, so I have to do it.
Gab said she can't stay for long tonight, but she's excited. For those, hey Marissa, for those who can't see the whole thing, as per usual, it'll be popped up on the channel. So if you miss it, you can actually watch it later. Steph is here. Hi, Steph. And we've got Tessa. Hello. There's a few people that I was hanging out with last night on another stream. There was a bunch of us. I think, who was it? It was Iona, Tessa, and Jade, I think, and Aaron.
Oh, friend gang.
Yeah, we jumped in this this awesome musician Sam's stream, and it was so funny. He was playing this game. I can't even explain it, but it was basically like marbles, but it was like I don't even know how to explain it. I'm not gonna do it.
I like marbles, so you got me there.
Oh my god, I'm not gonna do it any justice, but it was so addictive. I actually had to like remove myself from the stream because it was so funny. Oh, Britt's here. Hey, Britt. Brittany
Hello,
Long.
Britt.
Lovely Britt. Asia came for a bit, and she said she was super confused, but his piano skills were fire. Oh, that's lovely. Aaron's just gifted a sub to Colleen. Oh, that's so nice. Aaron. Friendship. Sharing is caring. That's so nice, Aaron.
I'm trying to understand how a lot of this works.
Oh, dude, I'm trying to understand it at the same time, pretty much, because this is new to everybody, and
I understand like subscriber, that
yes,
word I get.
yes,
I know that from YouTube, but
yes. Hey, Tim Sim. Tim Sim's here. He said, JG in the building.
she's here.
She's here. Yeah, it's like, you know, I think I've been streaming for 3 months and getting my head around it all, but the best thing I think about using Twitch as a platform is the emotes and how they pop up in the screen.
Don't you have another one?
Sorry? I do have a Jetta one. Actually, I need to get Jetta. You'll see it. Hang on a sec. I'll get her, and then all the... Hang on.
I'm so excited.
She's here. Hang on. Here we go.
Oh my god, it wouldn't be a good stream without a puppy.
It wouldn't be my stream without Jetta and her emotes that will now flood the screen.
Oh, as it should.
Look at her
She's
little
so
face.
cute.
Oh.
I can't believe I haven't met your dog before.
I know.
I don't know how this has happened.
Well, I just don't think you've come to visit me when you've been in Melbourne, so we need to fix that.
Not always for like 12 hours
Yeah,
and
I
then have
know.
to leave at like 4 the next morning.
Jordan's the same thing. I always miss him too because he always flies down for 24 hours. And
Classic Jordan. It's
um,
just he's a jet setter, that boy.
but Georgia has met Jetta and Kelvin, so
Yes, I know. The envy is real.
Billy
Next time I'm in Melbourne.
yes, just saw Billy Zammit in the chat as well. So g'day,
Billy!
Billy. Oh my God, so many Jetta emotes tonight. That's very good. That's lovely. Sea Dog in the house. Thanks for following. Yeah, keep them up. Just, I don't know if you're watching.
Just keep it up.
Can you see the Twitch screen at all? Can you see the actual?
I can't see it on Skype, but I can like I can open the Twitch. Hold on.
You should
Twitch.
totally open the Twitch. Well, I don't know if it'll
put... help me like understand what's happening too.
Yeah.
I need to like hide my own face because I feel like it's weird looking at myself twice. And there's an Amazon original ad. I'll see it in 22 seconds.
Yeah, you totally will. And so, but everybody, when Jess can see the Twitch stream, can you guys all flood the stream with Jetta emotes so she can see?
Please.
Yeah, just so you can see, because they basically rise up over my face. It's really funny.
I'm so excited.
It's like my favorite part. They're all ready. See, Sharon.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
Can you see? Can you see them, little Jetta?
A little bow.
It's a little Jetta, and she has a little. She's got a little pink collar on.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my God, there's so many. Oh my God, it's like a sea of Jettas.
And we have to thank Aaron for that because Aaron was the person that worked out how to do that. So now we can flood the stream with Aaron emotes, which we also have an emote specifically for Aaron because he's such a legend and he helps me so much with the stream.
Well deserved. That is MVP work right
MVP.
there. That is such a cute little emote.
I know, it's a little face. And so here come the Aaron emotes now. You'll see his face amongst.
Oh my God, there's so many.
Oh no, it's
and
the
there's
best.
one of you.
There is one. There's a little MGH.
Oh my goodness.
So I feel like this is.
It's just so cool.
I'm just teaching.
Twitch is a whole new world.
It's a whole new world, and the best part about it is. This is the best part because it makes it so interactive and fun. It's like, here we go. There's my little faces everywhere.
Oh my goodness. Now it's just a sea of you. I'm okay with that though.
Thanks, guys. Everybody rocks. Thanks so much in the chat. And then now Sharon just did the join the crew ones, which that's like the name of the community is join the crew because everybody needs to join our crew.
I agree. Don't you have merchandise for it?
I do now have joined the crew.
That's not promo or anything, but maybe it is.
Hashtag merch, guys. Yeah, black t-shirts for photographers, obviously, because everybody, and they just say join the crew. So that is a thing that's happened.
Simple yet stylish.
Anyway, let's get into you and less about the stream.
Oh no, I'm happy to talk about it.
So funny. I literally, just as I was talking about the merch, my little Nightbot that talks about the merch came up in the stream. So if anybody's curious about the merch, the link is there right now. Anyway, we have you, Miss Lovely Jess Gleeson. I'd love to show everybody your work tonight. I'm really excited about sharing your work with the stream and getting everybody to know you a little bit better. So do you want to tell everybody, I guess, how do you describe yourself? Do you describe yourself as a music photographer or do you usually say photographer, or how do you usually, what's your title?
Well, when I'm in an Uber, I say music photographer because it seems more straightforward. But I guess I would say music first, mostly. It's what I prefer to do. It was kind of my way into the photography world. So yeah, I guess music first and foremost, but then I don't know. It sounds cool if you also say photographer because it's very what kind, you know?
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, music.
And do you do other? Actually, are you mainly music these days? Or do you do any? I guess you do some other events and stuff like that, but essentially it's predominantly music now.
Yeah, it's mostly music. I mean, it's I do corporate stuff like here and there, but it's definitely not as like consistent or as frequent as good old like live music
Yeah,
up until like recently for obvious reasons. But yeah,
totally. Catch you later, Tessa. Thanks so much.
bye
Definitely
Tessa.
watch it back for sure. I'm just showing some of your work. I'm just scrolling through
Oh,
your main page at the moment just to get the general vibe. We're going to talk about some specific work of yours a little bit later, but I'll just kind of scroll through while we're chatting. Um, do you want to maybe just tell people how you got into it? Because like every person that I've had on the stream has a really different story. I think there's no one
mm,
way, like there's no one path to music photography. I did
I
notice
get that.
someone recently joined, I can't remember their name, but they joined the Sea Dog. He was the latest follower. That person was the latest follower, sorry. And they were just asking, how do you photograph music? Because I think it's in my bio. So this should be quite explanatory when we talk about music photography. We're talking about, I guess, musician photography rather than music photography.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, you're not like photographing the notes or
No,
anything.
it would be quite difficult
That'd be
to
pretty good though.
literally photograph music, I guess. But there is definitely a sensibility of and intuition that comes with that, which we'll talk about later as well. But yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about your path?
Yeah, okay.
From this,
Let's
basically from the start.
okay, well, I was born in 1993. No,
Wait, what year were
I
you born? Oh my
1993.
God, that's the year that I
I
started
feel
high
old,
school.
Sandra.
I started high school. No, hang on. No, I was in year 9 in that year. I didn't start high school. I was like even older than that.
No, you are a young queen. Don't even try. Um, so I mean, like, I always wanted to do it. Like when I was a little kid, I used to like save photos on Flickr all the time of like my favorite musicians and bands and stuff. I didn't understand how music photography worked though, like how you got into it, how you would do it, anything. I just liked looking at them. And so like at my first few shows, I would take my little like Canon PowerShot camera and just like spend the whole time looking through that. And I mean, the results weren't great, but like it was just nice to have it. Like it was for me. And then I just kind of like gave up on it as a bit of a pipe dream. And then when I think I was 15 for Christmas, my parents bought me a camera because they could see I was still passionate about it, but I didn't know how to like engage in it. And then I just take photos of my cat all the time. So many photos of my cat and like some flowers and my dog. Um, and then, but again, nothing happened of it. And then, like, when I was 18, no, 19, I had like this whole, like, um, without going into too much detail, I had like a big, like, life change. And, like, I had like an accident and I was in hospital. And then it was like pretty bad. But they were like, uh, these other bad things could have happened. And I think that was just kind of like a turning point for me because I was at uni at the time doing psychology and I wasn't really feeling it. And then yeah, when this happened, they were kind of like, you know, things could have gone really bad. And I was like, oh, okay. So why am I wasting my time doing a degree I don't love when I could try and do something that I do love? And then just like miraculously, my best friend Matt, he had a free ticket to this festival called Festival of the Sun, and it's in Port Macquarie. And they also had photography classes, which I've never heard of at a festival, but it was great.
Yeah.
And I think Kevin Bull was running them, and he's from Newcastle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And so it was like you pay for your own ticket, which I didn't have to do because Matt had one. And I've lost my train of thought. I'm already like, what? Oh,
You were at the festival and
yes, I was
yeah.
at the festival, and I got the pass, and I shot everything, and then I just submitted the photos to Tone Deaf, and then the rest is history.
Great. So there's a couple
Yeah,
of things.
my whole life story.
No, there's a couple of things I want to touch on there because I think there's something you said at the start which is really important. Because a lot of people have said every Sunday we set different challenges, and sometimes people are like they don't have either people to photograph or are confused about what to use as subjects. And I love that you said that you were just photographing your cat or your dog or
Yeah,
like
I mean, he's a very handsome cat.
yeah, or flowers or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, when you're first starting out and just trying to learn your way around a camera, it doesn't really matter if you don't have a particular person when you're first
No,
starting.
definitely not. especially when like you don't know really how to use a camera, so it's just on auto and you just like
Yes,
on everything. But
totally.
yeah, so yeah, that was my little like start. But I know that everyone's is quite different, and I just got really lucky that that one festival that I got a chance to go to, there was like a photography class there. Like the chances
Yeah,
of
totally. And it
that.
totally, hey, Daniel. Daniel Bedford's here. Really
Oh,
nice to see you, Dan. This shot that I've got up on the screen, I don't know who it is at the moment, but it is absolutely incredible. It's like,
oh, the one where it's like that.
yeah, composition of this is like mind blowing. That's
Carly Rae Jepsen.
your fave. I know you love her so much. That's such a great shot. I love everything about this. The negative space in this is really, really beautiful and great. I haven't seen that photo of yours before, so I just wanted to go back onto. So you started shooting for Tone Deaf, which, for those who don't know, Tone Deaf is a music publication here, and I would love to know. Um, I guess like I remember when you messaged me, maybe I'm assuming it was about 2 years ish ago, and you said that you were going to take the leap and go freelance, which is a huge,
Yeah, it was
scary
it was
step.
very scary.
I remember it quite vividly actually, and being really proud of you because I understand how scary that is. Hey
Yeah.
Mildred, thanks so much for joining the stream. Lovely to see you here. I'd love to talk about, I guess, the time in between, because I think this is what a lot of music photographers really struggle with, is the progression from shooting for publications, which I've mentioned before, like that's generally unpaid work, or if it is paid, it's a
Yeah.
very, very small amount, into moving into paid work, and then what you've done now, which is go full time freelance, which
Mhm.
is there's such big progressions. Do you want to talk
Yeah.
about your journey of doing that? Because who's that? The real Jay Yes Shark. G'day.
Oh, Jai. It's Jai. Hi,
Jay,
Jai.
thanks for joining the stream. That's awesome. Maggles is here as well. Hey Mag, nice to see you.
Hello. Hi,
Um,
everybody.
yeah, do you want to talk about a little bit about that progression? Because I think that's the biggest hurdle for people. And as you know, there's not heaps of us that are doing the whole full-time freelance thing. It's a difficult thing to juggle and manage. So
Yeah.
any advice I think people would really appreciate, because I guess it's the goal for most people to do that.
Um, I mean, it's hard because I feel like, much like any aspect of the music industry, it's just a lot about like the connections that you make with people and like the friendships that you develop, and like you just create bonds with people, and then they want to work with you more, and then like when they have more opportunities, they want to pass them to you because they trust you with it, because like they trust your output, they trust like the amount that you work, they trust like your ability to like get things done quickly, and like just things like that. I think like relationships are probably the number one thing that like I think helped me get to the point of being able to go free full time. But um, I honestly like there wasn't really like I can't even really decipher when it went from like um, unpaid to paid work. I think it just like it happened so slowly for me,
Mm,
because like I've been doing it since 2012, which is like ooh, nearly 8 years, which is so weird to think about. But like there are other people that just get into it and they're there in like 6 months. But it took me quite some time. But I don't regret that, because it meant that I got to like work on the type of photography that I wanted to like be able to put out later on. So then when I went to like tell people like, hey, I'd like to get paid for this, I had like a strong portfolio behind me.
totally.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Makes total sense. And you touched on a really important point, which I harp on all the time on the stream, which is about the relationships within the industry almost being more important than the photography, which is sometimes hard for people to get their head around, because I feel like
Yeah.
once you're at a level, and music photography in Australia is at such a high level. We have, I've said this many times, I believe some of the best music photographers in the world. So people are coming in at
Yeah.
a really high standard. And every time there's a new person that's coming in, it's like, whoa, this person is really
Ooh.
great. They're coming
It's
in
sad too.
younger and, more awesome. So it keeps the
It's
level.
like intimidating, but it's also really nice to like yeah, like be able to bring those people into the fold and make them part of your community too, instead of like ostracizing everybody and making it more like competitive than it needs to be. It's just like creating those
Totally.
relationships with people instead.
Yes. Hello, Benjamin. You made it. Thanks so much for coming to the stream.
So Ben,
Um, yeah, I had lunch with Paige today. We were talking about that very thing about
oh, Paige, like wait, with the Paige with two G's?
yeah, Paige, Sydney
Oh,
Paige.
great.
She's in Melbourne at
I
the
didn't know
moment.
she was.
She's just here for
Oh,
a short period of time, so we caught up today, which was lovely because I hadn't met her before in real life. We
yeah,
were,
she's an absolute
she
sweetheart.
is, and we were definitely talking about there's been definitely a huge transition in the last, I would say, 5 years in terms of, and maybe even less, 3 to 4 years, in how well the photography community actually gets along and genuinely likes each other and hangs out
Yeah,
compared to when I
yeah,
started, which was definitely not the case. And I was saying that I felt really very alienated. I didn't feel part of the photography community for a very long time. So part of my passion and part of the reason that I do things like this, like having the Twitch community and stuff, is to actually change that, because it's
yeah,
so daunting when you first start. And it's like, and
yeah.
if people are, the first time you go into a pit, people not talking to you and stuff, it's like
It's also
terrifying.
like not having any like previous experience or any concept of like what you're meant to do or like what etiquette is and things like that. It's
Yes.
like so, yeah, like you said, it's like completely daunting. Like people are just like, but you should know, but it's like, but how would I? You know,
Well, there's no
there's
school
no
that
like,
you go
there's no
to.
guidelines on this. Like people don't teach you this. You just
Yeah.
kind of have to like, figure it out as you go. I got really lucky though. Like when I started, like there was a really lovely community of like photographers around that were just like really supportive and really understanding and like lent me their gear so I understood like what lenses could be like besides like a 50 mil, which was like, yeah, I know that not everyone had the same experience, but I got really lucky with like the people that I got to like um, shoot alongside, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think the reason that I'm so passionate about it is that I didn't have it, and it was a real struggle
Yeah,
to feel part of a community at all, or feel
which sucks. Like you should never have to feel like that.
totally. Hello, Nathan. Just seeing Nathan pop up in the
Okay,
chat as
Nathan,
well. Um,
I
and
agree. I can't wait to see everyone in the photo clips again.
I
I
know. I
miss.
feel like the last time I saw everyone was at Laneway, which was awesome because like
Oh
everyone was there.
yeah, it was. Oh my god, what a day too! Like the
Oh, the
rain.
Sydney one was wild. My God.
I loved it. It was so wild.
Yeah. But yes, very much about community and sharing information. And just going back to your point about there not being anywhere to learn this, another reason why I'm trying to do these streams and hopefully do some type of online course where you can actually just go through and like what is the general pit etiquette, like stuff
Yeah,
that
yeah,
people
absolutely.
don't tell you until someone tells you off, and like you
Yeah,
learn.
you just like learn on the job. Like every time you're like, someone's like, "Don't do that." You're like,
Oh,
"Okay,
okay, cool.
okay,
Mental note.
that's
Okay,
yep."
that's
Add that to the list along the 30 other things that I've done wrong in the last week.
yes.
It just yeah, it just works like that, which is so weird. But yeah, I just hate that you had to like that you didn't have a good experience with that. Like one thing I did notice when I started was there were virtually no women. Like there were like a few women, but I didn't see them half as much as I saw the men.
Oh my God.
And
There was none when
it's
I
just
started.
and so like I'm so grateful for it. Like it's so nice to see like more
It
diversity in
has
the photo.
completely, it's almost flipped on its head. Like there's almost more
Yeah,
women now. It's kind of
I'm
wild.
not sad about
No,
it.
either am I. I'm like stoked about it. But when I started, I don't reckon I saw a woman for 3 or 4 years. I mean, I was shooting predominantly in
Oh,
hip hop as well. So think
yeah,
about hip hop between 2012 and 2014, 15.
yeah,
It's even different than the hip hop scene here too. So like a lot of things have changed in the last kind of 5 years. But yeah, not only no women at the pit, there was barely a woman at the shows. Like it was
yeah. But
incredibly male
it's so much
dominated.
changed too, like in different genres and stuff. Like it's not just like the same stock standard thing that you would see 6 years ago. It's like
Yes,
completely,
yes, and
yeah,
I one of the things I wanted to chat about was frog in my throat. Um, the there is definitely. We were talking about this. Jarvis is home, so the dogs. Hey. Oh my god.
Jetter emojis.
The opposite of Jetta emojis when she's naughty and barking. No, Jarvis is home, so they're going crazy. We were talking about how, like, a couple of things came up, and just in terms of like the difference, this is a huge generalization is the word I'm looking for.
Do it. Bring it.
But you had said something to me which really resonated, because I asked you to pick out a couple of photos, and you you said something like, I don't know how to talk about the photo. And I was like, no, don't talk about the photo, talk about the experience of the photo. Not like, I didn't want the tech about like what ISO did you shoot it on, like that doesn't interest me. And I just think there's a huge difference generally between male and female photographers, between knowing a lot of tech stuff and knowing how you do it technically versus intuitively shooting something. And this is not negative in either way, it's just like an observation that I've noticed. And I definitely resonated when you said that, because you were like, I think you said something like, I don't even know how I did it or whatever. And I'm like, this is exactly how I feel. I'm like, I don't know, I just shoot and then I do the thing. And then, but I just...
You don't really think about it, like your brain's on autopilot, but I guess it's like in a different way, because like some people think really technically and they're just like, well, I need the ISO to be at this and stuff. Whereas I feel like you're quite similar maybe, but like you just kind of think about like the moment of it happening and you can't really think about anything else but like that.
Yeah, I mean the tech stuff is in the back of my mind because after so many years I know it, and I know
expose things.
Yeah, well, like knowing if a photo is too dark. Hang on a sec, just need to tell Jarvis that the dogs have eaten. Yes, they have. Don't feed the fatties twice. I think the tech stuff's important to have in the back of your mind, and it can definitely, if a photo's too dark, the 3 things you can do to change that, but it's not front of mind for me. It's definitely and it feels like you are very much the same. It's about capturing the moment and the feeling and the vibe, and above what the tech specs are of the shot.
No, I get what you mean. Like you still want to get it like in focus, and you still want to have like the obvious things ticked off, like you don't want to overexpose or underexpose or things like that. But I definitely I aim for like when I want to like submit things, I want to make sure that it feels like a moment instead of it just being like, well, this is technically correct. So,
and the reason that I wanted to mention it and not like highlight the gender difference and be like, oh, boys do it like this. The reason that I'm highlighting is that I feel like there'll be a lot of younger women in this stream who sometimes feel like I don't know all of the things I need to know to be shooting, or I'm not there with it yet. And I felt like that for most of my career.
Same. Yeah. The amount of times I'm still like, no idea what I'm doing.
And
I'm doing.
Asking friends for advice, and if you need to call someone up before a shoot or something like that. I set little goals for myself when I don't know something. So and it's a little bit different now because I have been shooting for so long, but there was a moment in time where I was like, okay, I don't know how to shoot in the studio, so I need to learn how to do that. And it was just shoot by shoot, bit by bit, like learning little things.
You're still you're developing. Like I don't really do many studio shoots. Like I'm still like gradually teaching myself them too. And I'm very grateful that you said that, because like your studio work is beautiful, and I'm like, okay, good. I can still
thank you, my love. Yeah, it was. I mean, I feel like you're probably at a similar place to where I was when I finished my book, which was like I did all of my portraits. I was shooting a lot of press shots, but I did all of my portraits outdoors because I was terrified of the studio. I just thought the studio was the scariest thing in the world.
It is But like it's
No,
also really freaking cool, like the idea of it. And
it's
like
not scary,
I,
Jess. Can I tell you? It's
I have a shoot there Friday, so I'm not gonna
okay.
say too much more about how scary it is. But like I feel like people like you and Julia have really inspired me with like your studio work, because like both of you create like such like beautiful moments in a studio, and it doesn't feel as like, sometimes when I see studio stuff it feels a bit like a trapped moment instead of it feeling like emotive, if that
Yes.
makes
Yeah, I used to feel like the studio was very restrictive. And that's what
sense.
I
Yeah.
would say, no, if I shoot in the studio, I'm so restricted in what I could do. And it's actually quite the opposite. It's
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
you have control over every single element and you can make it whatever you want. And that's what I had to teach myself. And that's what I
Mm,
had to get over the fear of the technical aspects of it being really scary. It's actually like
yeah.
the easiest thing ever. And yeah, I definitely should do a couple of. I've been live streaming from the studio, but
Oh,
it would be good to try and go through some, which just shows, I guess, the setup, but not deep diving into too much of the tech stuff. But it's not difficult. It's actually really so easy and very simple. So
it's also like a lot of fun when you get the chance to shoot in the studio too, because it's like, I don't know, it just feels like it's a new aspect of creativity I don't usually get to like play around with.
yeah, and you can get
So
really conceptual as well if you, even though I'm actually not a highly conceptual photographer at all. I'm not like Julia, who is very conceptual.
I
Um,
don't know, the G flip, the drumstick thing was sick. That was so
well,
cool.
that was working with a team, like a creative directing team, and I
Uh,
work really, really, really well with creative directors. I'm very good at execution on a brief. So
yeah.
that was like three people coming together saying, so G Flip had some concepts, the
Mm,
creative director had some concepts, and then I brought to the table some stuff that I thought was possible in the studio.
mm.
And so we all kind of collaborated on that, and then the fire stuff just happened. I mean, we were always going to do it, but it just
Yeah.
on the day worked out so much better. I think
So freaking cool.
there's some amazing comments in the stream that I wanted to read out. Gab said, "I love these points. I always thought I was too focused on watching the moment and not fussing over my camera." That's yeah, I am the same. It's just like yeah, you're very much in the moment when shooting. Anna said, I always feel like people are extremely obsessed with settings and gear and don't have their focus in the right place when it comes to becoming a better photographer. Anyone can learn the technicality of it, but there's so much more than the tech specs. 100, a million, 1,000,000,000,000,000%. There is a feel and a intuition with photography that I'm obsessed with, and like that's what I love about it outside of the whatever settings it's on, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does. Like you gravitate towards more like the feeling of it.
Totally. um, Billy said we love when the the Jess Gleeson studio works, you make magic happen, so that's
Oh,
amazing.
so cute.
Steph said, I've always been scared of the studio, but I'm starting to realise it will come so in handy, particularly in an area like Melbourne where the weather can be dodgy. 100%, yes.
Mhm.
I very,
Yeah.
very rarely shoot outside the studio these days. It's really, really rare. Sometimes on location, but not. I
Yeah.
used to only shoot outdoors. It's so weird how things have changed. Yeah,
It's cool that you're comfortable in like both aspects now. So you can be like, you can be someone that's like, hey, I can do both for you.
totally. It is handy to be.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Rock and Loader, thanks so much for the follow. Nathan has got a question which I'll ask a little bit later, so I'm just going to write that down because I think that's a great question for a little bit later.
and I can see it, so now I can think about it for a
Yes,
bit.
yes, think about it. Um, what else have we got that I missed? Mildred said, I really appreciate the aesthetics of it and capturing the moment is so important. Totally agree. Matt said, they inspire me to try harder and to want to be a better photographer. That's cool.
Nice.
Britt said the relationship between Jess and Montaigne is so evident in her work. It's just amazing. In fact, amongst all the artists that she works with, that's the most perfect,
That's the nicest thing to
and also
say.
the most perfect like leeway into the next like topic of
Oh.
conversation. So I did want to talk about relationships with artists. And you touched on it before in terms of it being really monumental into making the transition from, I guess, a publication photographer to freelance. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the relationships that you have? Because like, oh, Nathan just subscribed. Woo! What a legend. Oh, Matt actually gifted that subscription to Nathan.
Oh, so nice.
And that is his 5th gift subscription. OMG. Actually, Matt, you missed the other night. You missed a funny part of the stream when a friend, Hugo Creates, came, who's another streamer, and he started gifting, and he wanted to be the biggest gifter in the stream, but I think you've just taken over again, Matt. I think you're number 1 gifter again. Let's just see if that should update. Oh, that's so lovely. Thanks, Matt. You're such a legend. Oh, you've got that competition. That's exactly what he said. He's like, Matt, I'm coming for your title. I'm coming for it. But yes, just going back to relationships, because it's really difficult to teach or explain that the relationships with artists is a really, really important thing for what we do. Not only on a like one-on-one shoot basis, but it's those relationships generally which will mean that they'll take us on tour and give us consistent work, like keep coming back to us. Do you want to talk a little bit about how important those relationships are?
Yeah. I'm not good talking though.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Or use Montaigne. Use Montaigne as an example. Like use a specific relationship as an example.
Yeah. So I guess like with Montaigne, like I met Jess at a show of another friend. I think it was 2015 maybe, or 2014. I can't remember, but I met her a while back, and we just clicked. Like we just got along really well, and we had like heaps of mutual friends, and I think we just. Also, the same name thing worked really well, like both being Jess's. We just kind of bonded like a lot over that. And I think we were just very like-minded and stuff. And like, I really loved her music and I really loved her output and like her creativity. And I think she just I think we just started to trust each other with things like that. And then like opportunities came up where she was like, hey, like I need someone for this thing. Like, is it cool? Like, do you want to do it? Like, are you comfortable with that? And I was always like, yeah, like, I love you. Like, this is a dream. Absolutely. Yes, please. And then, like, even with the, with her Australia Decides Eurovision single artwork, like, she was just like, oh, I'd really like if you could do it. And I was like, that's my dream. Yes. I love Eurovision and I love her. It was just like a match made in heaven. And just things like that. Like, I feel like, you get a lot of opportunities just out of just friendship sometimes. Like people just want someone they can trust, like completely. They just want someone that they can rely on to like support them and understand them, and not like, just post things based on like clout or like just trying to get extra like attention for their own like social gain or something. Like,
yes,
it's just about trust in those ways, I think. And I've been really lucky that like the way that I meet a lot of people is like a friend of a friend of a friend, and then it just continues like that, and then just starts to unravel into like all these little friendships with all these artists. And like sometimes I can't even like pinpoint exactly when I met certain people, because it happened one day, and then I've known them forever. Like even the Gang of Youth guys, like I met them in 2014 through like strange circumstances, and then like I still know them now, and they're like wonderful people. But like, like,
totally.
People in very strange ways.
No, you've touched on some really great things there that I've mentioned a few times as well. Just in terms of the trust thing is like really, really important. Bye, Gab. I think Gab's leaving. Gab. She's gonna watch the rest of it later. Thanks for popping by. I can't stress enough about that trust thing and how important it is to artists to have someone in their corner that they can trust and know that they're not going to publish something that they're not happy with, or because I think a lot of artists have been burned, or artists have had hey Ozfizz, so nice to see you, legend, thanks for joining the stream. definitely with the artists that I'm friends with, nearly every single one of them has a story about a photographer that's posted a photo of them. It's usually a live shot that they're deeply, deeply unhappy with. And it's
Yeah.
like scarred them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like it's really hard in those situations too, because like if you aren't working for an artist, sometimes like I think people it's that like technicality slash moment thing too. Sometimes like someone's like, this is a technically perfect photo, but it's like it's deeply unflattering. Like sometimes it's just like that, you know, or like it's an incredible moment, but like if it's unflattering, like just don't post it. Like,
Yeah, I've often said, like, think about you yourself being that person, and would
oh
you
yeah,
like that photo of yourself being posted?
that's my motto. Anytime I like think about a photo too much, I'm like, I probably shouldn't post it because I probably don't like it. So
Yeah, and like, it's sometimes like the more that you work with artists and understand the psychology of artists, sometimes they'll surprise you and stuff that you think that they won't
oh
like,
my
they will,
gosh,
which also happens. But
yeah.
I'd always like, if it's not an artist that I'm working directly with, erring
Mm.
on the side of caution so that you don't
Constantly.
have, like, I can't tell you how many times I've literally had artists that I'm really close with will show me a photo and go, why would this person post this photo of me? And being like
Yeah.
really upset. Like, I don't
Toxic.
understand why they would do this. Like, are they trying? And they, sometimes think it's personal. They're like, do they not, like, are they trying to, like, not upset, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah.
can really affect people. And
Absolutely. I mean, like that's why so many people are so like they become so insecure on stage and stuff. And then that's why a lot of artists are like, no, I don't want any photographers in the pit because they've just been like burned one
burned.
too many times. People just kind of like, yeah, posting unflattering photos of them and then just not thinking about it enough, like before just like pressing the button.
Yeah,
So, and I think
absolutely.
like I'll be the first to admit, like I've definitely like I definitely had to like develop a better eye for what is an attractive image of a person, like through the last like 8 years of doing it, because like there's some where like I look back now and I'm like, why did I post that? Like
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
the best photo, but like yeah, you learn from those things and like you gradually like develop a better eye to be like, okay, that's an appealing photo of a person, and you learn from those things. But like yeah, there's just this some in particular I've seen before, and like that's just like yeah,
You
like
know
teeth.
those moments, when, yeah,
Yeah.
when someone posts a photo and you're like, ooh, I probably wouldn't have posted that one. Like, you get
Yeah,
that
yeah,
feeling like, ooh. But I totally agree with what you just said about it's a learning process, and it's
yeah,
only through the relationships that I've developed with artists and the conversations, the one-on-one conversations that I've had, that have really got me quite in tune to the fact that they are very sensitive. It's them, like, they, especially like from a festival, for example, where there could be hundreds of photos from a set, and of course not every photo that you see is going to be flattering. So just putting yourself in that person's shoes, just like, what is that going to feel like if you see a really awful photo that's now on the internet forever, like.
yeah. And it's like it's when an artist is performing, like you don't want them to have to think about like how they look on every single angle, like for those first three songs or for the whole set or whatever. They you should just like they should feel comfortable enough to just perform. Like that's their job. That's what they want to do. Like they want to perform and they want to feel amazing doing that. And it's like that's on us as photographers to be like a bit more like self-aware
Cool.
of like
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Just wanted to mention that, Chloe, I saw your question and I will ask that a little bit later on. And Grace, I just noticed she's probably left the stream now, but thanks for
Oh,
joining
hi,
us,
Grace.
Grace. I wanted to touch on a couple of the maybe bigger jobs that you've done. You did the tour with Niall. I'm just going to pop that one of the shots up now, which was, like, I guess one of the more higher profile kind of tours that you've done. Do you want to speak a little bit
Yeah.
about how that came about and that
Uh,
experience?
yeah, I mean, like all credit to Dara Manis for that. He just like messaged me out of the blue a couple months before it and was just like, "Hey, like I'd really like to put you forward for this gig. If you're keen, like these are the dates." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, sounds great. I'm around. Let's do it." And then, and then I was like, "By the way, what is it for?" And he told me, and I was like, "Huh, okay, that's fine. Yeah."
Interesting.
And then, yeah, hmm, Anyway, and I didn't hear back for a while, so I just I thought like, because he said he put forward a few people, and I was like, okay, well, another person has it. That's okay. That makes sense. And then, and then I found out that I got it, and I think at the time I was in America, and then I was like, okay, and they were like, well, we need you to come back and like be available to go to New Zealand at this time, and then so I flew back from New York to Sydney, and then spent less than 12 hours in Sydney, and then caught a plane the next morning straight to New Zealand.
Oh my God.
And like my jet lag was all over the place. I was just like an absolute like little zombie the whole time. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. Like it was just, yeah, very unexpected. But
and it was the
wonderful.
Australian, you did the whole Australian kind of
Yeah,
leg.
it was Australian and then the New Zealand
And with
show.
most of them, I mean, you can tell from this photo, but they're kind of arena or smaller arena shows. So like pretty decent sized shows that you got to shoot as well.
Yeah. I think he did, I think it was Kudos in Sydney. I can't remember. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was Kudos. I think he did Brisbane Entertainment Centre. I think it was Margaret Court in Melbourne. And then I think that's it. I don't remember doing Perth or Adelaide, so I don't know if I did. Maybe I did. I can't remember. It was just so long ago.
Oh, I've just
But
seen.
it was a great.
I've just seen. I didn't get the music, but I got the notification, which is weird. But thank you so much, Jared. Jared Leibowitz.
Oh, Jared!
He's just
Jared.
he's just continued his subscription, so that's really lovely. Thank you, you bloody legend. I also saw that Shelley's in the stream. So nice to see you. It has been a little while, but it's great to see you here. Amber Lee said all of your shots from that Nile tour were insane.
Oh,
And
thank you.
yeah, hi Jared. So nice to see you. That's awesome. Amber Lee said she remembers watching you run around at the Auckland gig. So
Oh my god, I was just like, let's go, let's
go.
do this. I ran up so many stairs that night.
Oh my god, yes. Those arena tours are great. I've only done the one we did, Rule did with Shawn Mendes is like the biggest.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, how do you do this all the time? Like trying to run up to the back of the thing. It's like
It's a lot of exercise. It's a lot of free exercise. You don't need a gym membership
No.
when you're a photographer. You're just like running all the time.
Totally. And Britt said before, 100%, if it's unflattering or if I wouldn't like it of me, then I'm never going to see, it's never going to see the light of day. I love that. That's awesome.
Preach it.
Another person, I don't know if you've got a photo of him, but it was a client that we both had at the same time with Lauv. We both shot Lauv the same, which was like, I remember us talking about it later on to say, like, what an amazing experience it was working for him. Do you have a photo from the website or maybe not?
I think I do in the, if you go to the top part and under music, I think it's backstage. I was trying to play cool. I was like,
oh, I can't see backstage. I've got music.
It's-
Oh, yeah. Got it.
Yeah, you got it?
Yep,
Cool.
yep. On stage.
Is there a little
backstage.
corgi on the screen?
Is there what?
Is there a little corgi
Oh
on the
yeah,
screen?
when someone just followed me. Who was that? I think I missed the.
Was that Jeff Anderson Jr.?
Oh,
that I
it
saw?
might have been. I didn't see.
If it is, hello. How are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Jeff. So lovely to have you here in the stream. What up?
Another talent, another studio talent.
Yes, beautiful studio work from Jeff. I love, adore his beautiful lighting. I've got a photo of Lauv up on the screen now. So this is, I think, when you shot him the second time. Was that the second time in? Yeah. The first time was when he came to Australia, and I remember. I don't know if we'd spoken that much before, but I definitely know that was like a bonding moment for us because we were like,
It was.
oh my God, that was the best experience of my life. It was like quite...
They are the loveliest team. They're such a lovely team of people.
Jeff just subscribed your... Oh my God. You're a legend. Oh, Steph gifted. I don't see the gifts until the gifted sub. Steph just gifted that sub to Jeff. That's so lovely. She's now trying to beat Matt's gifted sub goal. She's like one behind Matt now. So
Oh, I love this. A little
Oh, so
race.
much little community happening. You guys are the best. Thanks, Steph. That's so awesome.
Everyone's joining the crew.
And Jeff has now joined the crew. And Jeff, you can now use all of the emotes as well. Which, if you
Use the Jetta
use
ones.
the Jetta emote, Jetta's gone downstairs, so I can't even like bring her into the stream. So,
Jetta. Come on.
Impoverished is here as well. What up?
Oh,
Hi, so nice to see you. Impoverished is another photographer on Twitch who streams, so definitely go give him a follow. I jumped in one of his streams the other day, and I just met, I think, every other photographer that's on Twitch I met on his stream that day, which was amazing. I was like, follow, 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 follow.
that's so nice. It's such a nice little community.
Well, there's not many. There's not many of us here, so we
You got to stick
gotta
together.
try find everybody. So yes, talking about Lauv. Just in terms of that experience, oh my god, Rock and Loader has just subscribed as well. It's like a hype train is happening right now. Oh my
I
god.
love this. Again, I'm kind of still understanding it a little bit, but
So
like, I'm excited.
I'm
seems really
94% close to being 100% hype train. We're really, really close. And so if a certain amount of people subscribe in a period of time, you get the hype train. So,
oh my god, how many do we need?
I think one more would definitely get us over the line.
God.
So no pressure, guys. No pressure.
I want this train to go. I don't know how it works.
Choo choo!
but
All
make
aboard.
Choo.
I do really want to talk about Lauv. It's like everybody's being so amazing and subscribing tonight. But for me, it was a really amazing experience because to walk into a client that you've never met before is really daunting. So when it's a lovely experience, do you want to talk a little bit about how that experience was for you?
With Lau.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like it was a little strange because like we met at, I think we started at the radio station. It was just like straight into it because he had an interview with Ash London, and so it was just like I didn't really have a chance to speak to them or anything. We were just kind of like fall to the floor, and then it was just like on. And then we did that, and then we hung out for a bit afterwards, just like trying to get to know him and stuff, and like understand what was going on because like I mean admittedly at the time like I'd heard of the song the I Like Me Better one, but I didn't know much.
I was exactly the same. I only knew that song. Like that was the only.
I got pulled forward for it and I was like, cool.
I had to like go onto Spotify and be like, oh yeah, no, I definitely know some of the songs, but I was quite I think
I definitely did. I was just like, let's go, let's just give this a go, let's see how this goes. But his team were just so lovely. Like they I don't even know how like to explain it. They were just like friends from the start. Like they were just really
very
people.
welcoming.
Like, like an incredibly warm company. And his drummer, I nearly said keyboardist. His drummer, his girlfriend is Australian.
Yes, I remember that as well.
And I still talk to her like pretty often. And, like, she's really lovely. But like there was just such a nice little group of people. And then obviously I did Sydney, and that was great. And then you did Melbourne, and you crushed it. I know that for a fact.
I think we both crushed it, to be honest.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly.
And then the other show was just kind of like a fluke because I went over to surprise my boyfriend, and by that I mean like I flew across the world. To
yes.
at a music festival in Alabama. It's still very strange. I don't know why I did it. I'm happy I did it, but it was still like a big thing to do. It was a lot to do. But conveniently he was playing at the same festival and was like, hey, do you want to come and like shoot it? I was like, yeah. And so like I just hung out with them for that whole day, and that was so nice. And like I saw heaps of artists I've never heard of, and like honest to God I can't remember who any of them were because I was so jet lagged. I was just like, this is great.
Was that the same trip? Because there's a shot of Halsey as well here. Is it the same trip? Yeah. So that I remember that when you were saying that I guess the label found out that you were over there and was like, oh, by the way, you're there. Can you kind of shoot this as well? Which is what happens sometimes when you're.
Yeah. Well, with the Halsey thing, no, it was like Lauv is, I don't think he's signed yet. I think he's completely independent.
Oh, cool.
So that was just like that was a separate incident. And then incident, a separate thing. But then the Halsey one, like I, her photographer Peter, he, because he tours with her, and I saw that she was on the lineup. I messaged him being like, "Hey, are you going to be at this festival? Like, I'm going to be there. Like, it'd be cool if we could like hang out." And then that's the name of the festival. So, but and then that. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'll see you there." And then he messaged me like a day later and was like, "Hey, actually, I can't make it. Do you want to shoot?"
Oh,
And I was like,
wow.
"Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I mean, like if you trust me with it, absolutely." And then it was just like, yeah, the craziest like coincidence that like I think on the Friday I shot him like loud. Saturday was Halsey, and then Sunday I got to see my boyfriend and just chill for
Aww.
the rest of the afternoon, which was so nice.
It's so, I mean,
And then I left my phone mid Kendrick Lamar
oh,
and barely remember any of it because I was like running through the sand at this sand festival in Alabama trying to find my phone. It was a lot, but I found my phone. So
Dan just said it's a stars align moment. Absolutely. The other thing I was going to say about that in terms of just relationships with other photographers is really important because those types of things happen all the time. And like if I can't do a show for Rule, then the first thing I do is who's my friend that's in town that can shoot, and that's like anywhere in the world when I say that as well. Like I could be, or I need to find someone, so I'll ask someone like, who do you recommend from this particular town, because I need someone to shoot for me. So like having really great relationships with other photographers can actually get you work as well.
absolutely, because yet again, it's another trust thing. Like you're like, who do I trust to like do an amazing job to crush it and like create this like wonderful output that everyone wants to see? This person, or like these
Totally.
5 people.
Yeah. So let's get into some of these questions. I saw that Britt had just asked what it was like to shoot at Coachella.
Oh, that was wild. That was so weird. Again, it was a boyfriend thing. So he played Coachella on the Sunday, I think. And so I went over to see him, and then because his band was playing, and so I shot them with one of their other photographer, videographer friends, Dave, and also a woman that I know that used to TM for Billie Eilish. Like she knew that I was in town, and she was like, "Oh, do you want to shoot for Billie?" And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool, like if it's possible, but like no stress." And then that happened too, and it again, it's just those things where like I feel like America's helped me a lot. I feel like there's a lot of things that happen in America just like that.
I've
It's
definitely,
wild.
Americans in general, in my experience, are really great with helping people, like, which
Yeah.
is interesting because Australians are not as good with it. Australians can be a little bit more insular.
Yeah, I think it's like nerves too because there's like such less work here, whereas in
Yeah.
America it's just like there's
There's so,
constant
yeah.
things. There's like 100 shows every night in LA. Like
Yeah,
it's just
I was
that.
when I went to America the first time in 2014. The opportunities that I got in 2 weeks, I was like, my brain exploded. I was
Right?
like,
Yeah,
how can I be working with all of these amazing rappers in like on a world scale too? Not I just come from
yeah.
Australia. I'm like,
But that's also like a testament to like your work and like your abilities and stuff too. That people were like, we want her,
well, hopefully.
like we want Michelle.
I also
Oh yeah,
had some great friends put me forward and say, hey, there's this photographer in town. Would you like to work with her? And I had like just really, really amazing opportunities that actually like did a lot for my career. So I would completely agree with you in that regard as well. The other question that Chloe asked before was, I don't know if I've framed this right, but basically it was documentary style photography versus setting up the shot. Like what are our preference? Like do we have a preference one over the other?
Wait, sorry, I got
So
distracted by a comment. I just
sorry.
read a comment and I saw the little like robot emoji face, and I was like staring at it, like being like, "What is that? Is that a lizard?"
It's a little
I'm so sorry.
robot, and he's Aaron is actually American, so he's side eyeing
Oh,
at the fact that Americans have helped us because he has left the country now and is jaded with Americans. Some of them.
wait, where is it
No, I'm
now?
just joking. Americans like also another American that's helped me is Aaron. So
Oh, well, we love Aaron. We
Aaron
love
is the
Aaron. He's
best,
an
by the way. Yeah, he's amazing.
Sorry, what was the
Okay, so the
question?
question is, do we have a preference of documentary style photography versus, I guess, portraits and kind of setting up the moment?
Um, I think for me it depends on the artist. Like some artists are really good with they prefer documentary, so it just makes that so much easier because they're a lot more like comfortable with that, and there's less like pressure on them to like set themselves up in a particular way and like, you know, do the whole like portrait kind of thing. But then there's other people that are incredible at portrait stuff and just want some like really like lovely shots of them like doing whatever. Like I think it just depends on the client really more than like my personal preference because I like both a lot. I think it just depends on the person, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense, and I completely agree. I have a love for both of them for different reasons and for different moments. I probably couldn't really choose one over the other. Like I, yeah, really love them both, and like, yeah, like you said too, like some people just prefer, even in my setup moments, portraits, the way that I don't really, I don't actually really overly pose people. Like I have little tricks to get what I kind of want, and not a lot of it is. I don't like micromanage the posing process. It's quite organic and it's quite just in the moment. It's not strictly documentation, but it's definitely not like, oh, like this person stand here and then this person. It's kind of like, it's hard to explain the way that I work in the studio. It's actually a bit weird,
I
but
think it makes sense though. Like I think it, yeah, because I feel like some people like naturally know how their body shapes do,
yeah,
so that they know how to like set themselves up for a photo. I mean, like, yeah, it's kind of like you have like different tips and tricks, and like you react differently to different people on the spot. But I find that like sometimes like it's just like even just being like, hey, like just a little like up higher or like over this way or just like tiny
tiny,
movements,
yes, yeah, yeah,
they really like change drastically like how someone's like posture looks and things like
yeah.
that. Like I've noticed that a lot more like over the last like 6 to 7 months of like doing more portrait stuff. I'm just like, okay, like it is okay to make those comments and like help people like
Yes, get into the,
know how they look because they don't have a mirror. Like
yeah.
you're their mirror. You're the person that's meant to be like, hey, this is what you look like. Like let me help you look the way that you want to in this
Yes,
image.
Jeff's just asked me to explain, and what I'll say is that what I usually do is first of all I put on music and I tell people to kind of just feel and vibe. And what usually happens is they'll do something that I really like, and then I kind of work with positive affirmation from there. So I like, once I see what I want, it's like, yes, okay, good, this is good, let's stay with this. And then it's like just micro movements from there rather
Yeah.
than, okay, you stand here, like pose like this or whatever. It's like I try and get them to organically get into a pose that feels really great. And when I see it, I'm like, cool, let's work with this. And I don't know if that's explaining it, but yes.
No, it is. I think it like it shows you the end result too. Like you can see someone's comfort versus someone's like discomfort. Like you can tell when someone's like feeling like
It,
I don't know, like yeah,
you
uncomfortable.
can
And
see
I
it
don't
in
have
their,
another
you
word.
can see it in
You
their
can see it in their
face.
face, and you can see it in their body. Like you can see them being very like
Yeah,
because it's like
it's
that's not like yeah,
it's
they're not
like
comfortable with
terror.
that.
It's like deer in the
Yeah.
headlights. Like so, actually, a client of mine asked today because we had a really great shoot and we got through a lot more than we expected. And she said to me, "Have you ever had, you know, someone that's really tricky to work with?" And it's only happened a couple of times where it's been really, 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 really hard. And it's every trick in the book, you know, you've tried everything and they're still just standing
Yeah.
there like this, like terrified. And, like
Yeah.
they're the really, really hard ones to, like those people that are just so tense and self-conscious,
Yeah.
and I have like lots of little tricks to try and get people, and 99% of the time they work, and it's just that 1% where you're like, okay, so
Yeah.
this isn't working. What are we gonna do?
Sometimes like time helps too, like having like just even if you have like an extra hour with them to kind of just like help them like lose that tension because you can't stay that tense forever. Like it eventually like washes away as you like gradually become more comfortable with the subject.
Yeah.
Like I've definitely had those situations too where like you have people that are just very like you can tell how nervous they are about it because like it's either like a really big moment for them or like um it's a really important release or like they're just not very good in front of the camera or like just like there's so many different like little reasons, but like yeah, there's different ways to handle it. And I think like yeah, micro movements are probably like the best and like my usual go-to because it's like it's not pushing anyone too far out of the zone that they're already in.
Yeah, I tell people to do little movements every time it clicks. I'm like, when you hear a click, just move slightly, even if it's just like from here to here or here or here.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
smallest movement, like it can just be this, just change positions. And the other thing is
Absolutely.
too, I used to model, so I can tell, I can actually
Like, you know what you're doing
well,
then.
I no,
Yeah.
I can show them too. Like I can actually sit and go, okay, this is what I mean. Like maybe start in this position and go from here to here to here, and then they,
Yeah.
oh, cool, cool. I know how to do those movements. So showing sometimes can really help, I think.
Definitely, definitely.
Daniel was saying before, the in between shots sometimes turn out the best, which I completely agree. Like those,
Same.
yeah, that's a really great comment, Dan. Um,
And it's also sometimes when you least expect it, you end up getting like one of your most like favorite shots of an event. You're just
oh,
like, oh,
Oh, I was
oh,
saying I did a live stream yesterday where I was just retouching some shots of Tando that I did, and one of my favourite shots from the whole shoot is actually an accident where the backlight, the flash that was lighting the psych didn't go off, and
oh,
so it wasn't meant to be like that, but that ended up being one of my favorite shots because the mood
that's
completely changed and it looks so different than all the other shots, but it's beautiful. It's like, oh, that worked,
yeah.
so let's roll with
And
it.
like if you have the right framing and the right facial expression and stuff, like that's all you need really. And then
Yes.
bellissima.
Bellissima. Anna said, this is what we were talking about before, stresses the importance of the relationship photographers have with their clients and subjects.
Yeah.
I've spoken about this before. I strongly feel that if I, I haven't made a friend with that person, then I don't feel like I would have got them at their most relaxed so
Mm,
I genuinely try to get to know the person and form a relationship with them. Not only because I genuinely like people, but for the purpose of the whole shoot process going really well and them feeling really comfortable.
completely. I was also thinking like before when you mentioned that, like another client that we shared the same year was Miguel.
Ah, yes, that's right. Yes. Oh my God. I don't know if I've spoken about this, but I had two. Actually, you tell me your experience first. How was your experience,
Mine,
yeah, working with him?
it was lovely. It was very we did 2 days, I think.
See.
We did the first day. I can't remember if the first day was the live shoot. I think it was, and then the second one was the like press day. But his team were wonderful, and he's so nice. I mean, I didn't know much of his music to be honest with you. I'd heard of him, and I'd heard
Well,
like
that's
all
where we
the
differ
things.
because I am obsessed with Miguel. So I was trying to find a
I
shot
mean,
that I saw before that you'd taken. I think it was. Oh yeah, here it is.
yeah, I thought like the show was
Mm.
incredible though. Like, and he is so easy to work with. Like,
Yes.
he's such a lovely person.
Yeah. So I completely agree, but I had two really different experiences. So I did Melbourne and I also did Splendor. Um,
Yes, because I saw you at the Splendor one, like very briefly. Like, I
yes.
ran over to be like, "Hey!"
So the Melbourne show was actually really weird for me, and I don't really know why, but the vibe was off. And when I arrived, and it's just one of those things that I could just feel. I don't know if something had happened during the day, or it was just like there was a tension or an uncomfortability. I can't really explain it, and it wasn't like nobody was being everyone was so lovely and welcoming and all those sort of things, but it was just like
You can
I
feel
could feel
something.
something. It was just like I wasn't overly, and I didn't know. You know when you're just not sure if you should I go into the dressing room, should I not go? You know that I was trying to
Yeah,
suss it
that's my
out.
life.
That's like,
You're like always knocking on the door, like, hello,
hey,
should I come
do
in?
you want me
No,
to get some
okay.
shots? And then his manager was like, oh, he would like some shots because I was waiting for a long time that day. I got there really, really early, and then there was like not really much for me to do for ages. I think he was like having a nap or something. Anyway, his manager said,
And
"Hey,"
he also napped the second day for me too.
his manager said, he loves having shots as he's getting ready, and I think he was like putting his outfit on and stuff. So I knew that it was okay for me to go in because from that point he was like behind the door and I didn't really see much of him up until that point, so I was like, am I meant to go? So I went in and that was all fine, but I still was like it just felt a little bit weird, and the show was totally fine, but even after the show, the vibe, it just was weird. It was just like an unusual kind of tension, so I don't know if he was just having an off day or whatever. And then I went to Splendor, and it was the complete opposite experience, and it was so warm and lovely and welcoming, and just felt part of the crew, and I didn't feel any of that tension. It was all, he was telling me to like what he wanted me to shoot, and getting lots of backstage stuff, and it was a really, really lovely experience. So it's just funny because it's like, you know, I wanted to mention it because like artists are human, and sometimes they might be having a off day, like, but it could have been on tour for months and just wasn't really feeling having his photo taken that day. So like, it's just
Completely, yeah. And it's like, it's so nice also when you have a client that's like so happy to give you direction on exactly what they're looking for too, when you don't have like a style guide or a briefing of like what exactly they're looking for in the first place. It's so good to hear it from the artist being like, I want this, and I would like send them this, and I want shots of me on this side, like things like that, like really like help with the whole thing too.
Chloe mentioned, she said, I love how Jess's color grading is so recognizable as her brand, which I would completely agree with. That's Jeff said, I keep saying Jess should copyright the Jess Gleeson orange. I love that. That is very cool. So I can't remember who asked the question before, just in terms of your goals or bucket list artists potentially for the future, my love. Who's on your
I
list?
think like my probably my number one would be Hayley Williams / Paramore.
Oh, interesting. Paramore
yeah.
fan.
Yes, I'm a big Paramore fan,
Cool.
and I'm a big Hayley fan.
Okay.
I think she'd definitely be a number one for me because I think like, I mean, I love the new album. Like, I think it's amazing, and she's been like such a good role model for women for so long, and yeah, I just really admire her. And like one time she commented on a photo of mine, and I nearly like passed out. I was like, this is it. I've peaked. I'm done.
I am done.
I didn't. Obviously, I'm still here. But,
I love when that happens.
It's just, yeah, it's so unexpected
Yeah.
too. It's just like such a nice little like moment for yourself where like, yeah, you didn't do anything, but it happened. Who else would I like to work with? I have like a list. Hold on. I have a little journal and a list that I wrote in the back ages ago.
Oh, get it
because
out.
I always think about like every now and then I'm like, who do I want to work with?
Yes, get it out. This is amazing. I love this. We're just looking at some of your film work now at the moment, which is quite lovely.
Oh, I definitely need to update that.
It's fine.
Oh, that was new. I forgot that I put it in there. I've completely forgotten what I've done with my website. Christine and the Queens. I would love.
Cool.
I think Chris is incredible.
She is incredible.
I saw her play at the Enmore, and I just like nearly wept like a baby the whole time. And then we saw her at Coachella, and it was just like the most insane production. Like, she's just so committed to the art, and like being able to shoot shows like that, like where people put so much effort into like choreography and like styling and what they're doing on stage, like instead of just kind of like, no shade to people that just stand there, but like just you can create more around it. You can create like more moments each time with people like that too. So like, I would love to. Dua Lipa would be crazy too.
I love Dua. She is so beautiful.
Insane. It's not fair.
It's not fair at all. Every time she changes her hair color, I'm like, oh, that looks even better than the one you did before. So
it's crazy. I was really like, I hadn't seen anyone do like the one blonde thing until Dua, and then I was like, oh, this is like, I haven't seen this in a while, like since like MySpace days, and then now it's all over TikTok. Like, it's what everyone does.
I know. I when I saw it, I was like, oh, I haven't seen that since we were doing that in 1999. It's come back.
Yes. And
I had that as well, so it's quite funny.
Another one that I would love to shoot with is Rosalia.
Oh, I love Rosalia. She's amazing.
Rosalia.
Oh, Chloe's asked a great question, which is a good lead in. I don't know if we can find one of the photos, but She said, Jess, I heard that you were the only one allowed to shoot Lord in the Splendor pit, because we were potentially talking about that exact experience. So great question, Chloe.
I forgot to send the photo.
I know. Is there a photo on your website somewhere that we can show? Or on your Instagram? Is there one on your Instagram?
Wait, let me send you. Can I send you a link on Facebook? Will that work?
Yep.
Okay, hold on. Let me
can.
do that. That's probably the easiest way to do that. Yeah, it was wild. That afternoon, like we found out that only one person would be able to shoot her, and someone else was down for it, but they were also down to do.
That thing just happened again. That link. Hang on. Give me 2 seconds.
Did it work?
No, it didn't work. But I'm going to make you big.
Oh wait, no, I've sent you the wrong link. Hold on, I accidentally copy image and address. Oh no, that didn't work either. Oh my god, why don't I know how to use a computer when I need it the most? Share. There we go. That's how you do it.
Share. Yes.
Yeah.
We're getting through this together. Ask anyone who's done the creative challenges when I post the links in the Discord. I'm like, sorry guys, that's the wrong link.
Do you like Dropbox.com doesn't work for you?
It works, but I
haven't done that in so long, like literally years, where I've sent the wrong link like that.
Oh no, it's when here we go. It's when I'm trying to get people to upload to my Dropbox, like that link.
Yeah.
I always fuck it up every time. So here we go. We can show your. There we go. Here's one of the shots.
Yeah.
So how did that all happen where you were the only person allowed? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we found out that afternoon that they were only allowing one photographer, and it was Claudia. I love her so much. I can't say her last name. I'm very bad at it. It's like Capaucha?
Okay.
Chapocha? I think it's Chapocha. I hope that's right.
I'll take your...
She's incredible though. Like she's one of the best photographers in Australia. She was down to do it because she was technically like, the way that we work in Splendor is kind of like, if you're allocated to do like this type of access and that's the only one that's allowed, then you do that. And she was allocated the pit for Lord, and then she was also allocated, I think, stage for Vampire Weekend, and I was just like heartbroken because I loved Lord. And she was like, do you want to do it? And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, I don't mind. It's like,
oh wow, that's so ridiculously generous.
It was so kind. Yeah, I was just like indebted to her forever after that. It was like the sweetest thing to do, and like I'm so grateful for it. I had the best time, and it was just so weird, like this big pit at Splendor, and I was just like running around alone, just being like, ah. And then she had the top malfunction where like her top came undone at the back.
Yes, I'd heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just had to be like I can't take a photo of that.
Yeah.
Like I can't. Like that's inappropriate. So I just had to kind of like, with the PR Splendor, like I was just looking at her like, what do I do? And she was like, well, like let's just not. And I was like, yeah, cool. And we just like stood there just patiently waiting like to see if she'd come back on stage.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it was an amazing time. And then I didn't really get to see the set because I was just kind of like bolting back to edit the photos for the next day because they have them for like news stories and stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, it was wild. It was like such a cool experience. Like definitely like a huge highlight of my career, thanks to Claudia.
That's so amazing and very lovely to hear that she, I guess she gave you that opportunity, which it would be very rare. That's a very rare story.
It is, and I mean, like that's the thing too. Like I want to make sure that like if I get these opportunities, like I want to credit the people that have like helped me with them. Like I'm not going to be like, well, I got it. Like it's not like that. It's not like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Rebecca just said, I saw a bunch of other photographers from Lord from Splendor. Were they all from the crowd then?
Yes. Yeah, they were.
Were they?
A lot of people like went to the front, like they like went into the pit and they just shot with like 7200s and stuff.
Oh yeah. And okay, I've given my opinion on that before, so I won't touch on.
Have you? I missed it.
Oh no, I'm not massive on it if the artist has specifically said that they don't want like photographers. So and I know that people disagree with me, but that's just I'm very much about respecting the artist's wishes. So But yeah, I've seen that. I mean, I understand it. It's like you're at the festival and you can shoot. You are allowed to shoot from the crowd, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, some people do what they do.
Yeah, I mean, like I've definitely had to do it sometimes with like festivals and stuff where no one's been allowed. Um, but yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
It happens
people did it with
sometimes.
Kendrick and like Childish Gambino and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, I think it's when it's been specifically asked that they don't want that. You know what I mean? Like, I
Mm.
think there's a difference
Yeah,
between like, um, it's when it's that last minute thing and that it's been specifically said they don't want photographers in the pit, and then there's people that have gone really up close or whatever, and it's like they don't want those shots from up close. They've actually said that. That's yeah. I
yeah.
totally like get it. People will be mad, and it's fine.
I think the only photos that I have of Kendrick on my website with Childish are just like the far away ones from Splendor. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
'Cause it was
totally. I also don't have any issues if you're shooting from the back of the crowd either. I think that's like, not mod. Thanks so much for the follow. I think like, gonna get a big crowd shot from the back. That's totally fine.
yeah.
But everybody makes their judgment call in, and it's they whatever do what they do. I don't really shoot festivals anymore, so it's fine.
I do them all the time, and it's
Yeah.
usually like the same like sets of people, and it's like it's honestly like it feels like school camp sometimes,
Oh, cute.
or like a school excursion. Like you just like
Yeah.
hang out and do the thing that you love to do together. It's great.
Yeah. Anna said reminds me of the time when Kanye only allowed one photographer at the sound booth at the festival I went to. Um,
Oh, yeah. Wait, no, I didn't go to that. I remember seeing him at Brisbane Entertainment Centre, and I
yeah.
saw like the most incredible photos from that set. I think that was when he allowed photographers though.
Yeah, that
But I
might have
saw
been the time that
stuff.
there was one that I shot, which was it was sound booth shoot, and it was the first three songs, which were entirely red, and it was like an abs, like it was honestly nothing that I would ever show in my entire life. Like it was,
Was that the Yeezus tour?
I think so. And I remember
Yeah,
my friend
that's the one that I went.
oh yeah, my friend Lala got the best shot of that tour, because she
To.
was shooting on a crop sensor with her, is it 24 to 70 or 72? Anyway, whatever she had, because she had a crop sensor, it meant she got even closer.
Even closer.
And she
Yeah.
got, I'm telling you, the best shot of the entire tour. It was so, so, so good. And it was like crazy because it's like one of those things where you would think, oh, I've got a crop sensor. I don't have the best camera that's going into these situations. And then because
Yeah.
of that, she's actually been able to have an advantage over everybody,
Actually, yeah.
which is so cool. And it was such an amazing shot. I think she like was one of the finalists in the Monster Children
Nice.
competition that year as well. So
I have to check out this photo. I know that Marcus Ravick got this incredible photo of Kanye. Like I just remember, like when I saw it, I was in
yeah,
awe.
it's, I think from the same tour. Actually, they were very similar photos now
Yeah,
that I'm.
the one where like the lights down and Kanye's just there,
Yes,
like
they were very,
even
very
even though
similar
there's
photos.
a mask on.
Yeah,
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 you should check out Lala's version.
yeah. Hers was. I wonder if I could find it. I might try and find it. But uh, Amber Lee said I forgot to ask my usual question from at the start of the stream. But what camera and lens does Jess use? I love that.
Uh, I use the same like everyone else. I think I use a Canon 5D Mark III. I have two of those.
I don't
Um,
use that, so it's not like me.
what do you use?
I use a Nikon mirrorless Z6 now.
Oh, you're a Nikon girl. Yeah,
I've gone.
okay, that makes sense. I never think about the like Canon versus Nikon versus Sony thing. Like it's just
Either do
so.
I. I just do.
Again, we're not tech people.
I know. I just shoot with what I have.
Yeah. I have 5D Mark III, and then I use my usual go-tos are like the 1635 2.8, the 2470 2.8, 7200 2.8, and then a 50 mil 1.4.
Awesome. What's
That's my kit.
what's
And
your
then
favorite?
I bought a, sorry?
What's your favorite lens?
Probably the 2470. Like it's just reliable and like super efficient because it's like that good little in-betweeny. Um, but I have been loving the 70, well, prior to COVID, I was loving the 7200. I keep thinking about it like I just shot last week. I really didn't.
I know, you really didn't.
It's very
None of us
surreal to
did,
think
really.
about.
Not live shows, anyway. I'm trying to find this shot
Yeah.
of hers. I'm going, like, um,
You're like,
way back.
okay.
But it was a little while ago. So somebody asked Nathan Carroll said, who'd be someone you'd love to tour with in the future? That's a lovely question.
Still Paramore.
Paramore, number one, Paramore.
I feel like they're just like such a fun live band, and they were literally one of the first bands I ever like like I said, when I Canon power shot things, it was Panic at the Disco and Paramore and like Fall Out Boy and things like that because I was a pop punk girl.
Yeah.
So, I mean, come on, I had a MySpace. Like, what more do you expect of me? Who else would I like to shoot with? Who would I love to go into? I mean, like Billie Eilish would be like a dream, but Maddie Vogel is incredible and he's doing a fantastic job. So no stress there. Same with Panic, like Jake Chams is unbelievable. So yeah, I think like Paramore, they don't have a main person, so there's space there. Also churches, I love churches.
Oh,
Churches,
cool. Yeah, awesome.
yeah, I love them. Anytime I've shot them, it's been a delight. So yeah, I would love to work with them more.
Amazing. Chloe asked, do you feel like it's your gear that allows your images to be super clean and not grainy, or is it part of your editing process? We were going to talk on this particular topic about how important gear is. So, hi Tristan, thanks so much for joining the stream. Good morning, good evening, good morning to you. It's good evening where we are here in Australia. So
Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Yeah, just touch on, I guess, how important you feel gear is, and then maybe your editing process to give it that, the vibe that you do.
Gear, I think like it doesn't really, like it matters to an extent, but like not that much really. Like I shot on I think it was a 550. Yeah, I think it was a 550D for like the longest time on a 50mm 1.8 for like the longest time because it was all I could afford. Like it was the camera that my parents gave me when I was 15 and the one $128 lens that I could afford. Yeah. But it lasted me for so long through all the work that I did with Tone Deaf. Like I did so many shows like at Good God Small Club, at the Standard, pre-Standard Bowl, things like that. Like it just like, I don't think that gear matters as much necessarily nowadays, especially because like, you see so many people doing incredible things and like, yeah, they're a little blurry and things like that, but like it looks so sick. And it's about the moment that they're capturing. Yeah. It's not necessarily like the clarity of the image. So I think like, yeah, I don't know, gear doesn't really matter to me much. It's just that like, I guess like, and you'd understand this too, like when you have clients, like, you know what they're going to want and what they're desiring from an image, so you do need to have better gear in order to like fulfill that aspect.
Yep.
So like having a 7200 helps you get like closer images of the artist or like food from a distance or like someone holding a cup for like sponsorship photos and things like that. So I think it helps in those capacities. But like if someone said to me tomorrow, like, you're only allowed to shoot on your 550D and like a 50mm for a month, I'd be fine with that.
Totally. Awesome. Thanks so much, Mildred. Thanks for joining the stream and goodbye. Really appreciate you being here.
Hi, Mildred. Thank you for joining us.
Tristan said that it's in Germany it's 1 o'clock, so it is afternoon over there. 1 p.m. And I did see that there was a conspiracy, Jess Gleeson versus Lauren Mayberry conspiracy gang over here that is happening in the chat at the moment. Have anybody seen them in the same room together?
Oh. God, I wish. She's so cute. And she's so brainy. Like, I think she's amazing. Like, she's such a strong, powerful feminist.
Love it. We love strong, power feminist chicks. Does anyone have any last questions for Jess? Here we go. Nathan just said, when it comes to dipping your toes in paid work, How do you balance charging less to get started without being undercut for your work in the long run? Good question.
Ooh, question. How do you balance charging less to get
You
started?
know, so because what I
What?
think people think is that if you start off charging a rate, you're going to be stuck there forever, which I think is a little bit of a it's not true fallacy. Like,
Yeah, it's definitely not. No, I think it's like it is really hard because like you do. I'm like honestly like I'm probably not the best person to ask that to because like I still suffer from a lot of like I think in a way like imposter syndrome and like insecurity, and I'm still like kind of figuring out like what my work is worth. And yeah, I'm still like I still struggle with it sometimes with clients because I never really know exactly like I didn't really know how to beat that. It just started getting to the point where people were like, hey, I think you're worth this much. And it started to help me realize like, oh hey, like I am worth this much. Like there's enough people saying that, like maybe I should start to believe that. But I do find it quite difficult to like maintain that and like make sure that like you're not undercutting yourself and not undercutting other people in the industry. Cause like if you take a rate that's like supremely low, then moving forward, people are going to be like, oh, well, you should hire this person because they do it for super, super cheap. Or like they're going to hire another photographer and be like, oh, well, this person works for super cheap, so you will too. And that's not fair to everyone.
totally.
Um, that's just like a vomit of
No,
thoughts
no, it
about the
is.
whole.
It's a really hard balance, and I've um, got lots of thoughts on it. There's first of all, the thing that you can do is talk to your peers. Some people are really weird about sharing this information. I'm not one of those people. I'm really open with this. You've definitely
Like,
asked me before.
what do I do?
Yeah. Julia and I chat all the time. Like if we're stuck on stuff just to flesh out. Okay, like because every job is different. So. You know, the bigger the clients that you work with, your rates are different. It's like it can be all over the place, and it's taken me a long time to get really comfortable with my rates and also I guess knowing my worth to the point where if somebody says no, well they'll get someone cheaper, then I'm like sweet, like this is what I'm worth. So catch.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
But I think that that brings up another point of like something that people are talking about lately, which is like um, pay like transparency,
mm-hmm.
like in like their like full-time jobs. But I think it should also be like quite similar in our industry. Like I feel like we should all make sure that like everyone is getting the amount that they're worth.
Yep.
And like the work that they're producing is worth.
Totally. That's why I
Yeah,
think sharing the information with other creatives and asking the question. Hey, thanks for the cheer, Tristan. I actually think that's the first cheer that I've received in this stream, so that's lovely. Thank you.
Yay!
I'm gonna read out your question. I actually don't even really know, but I got it and I'm stoked about it. So,
I like
Tristan, I'm gonna ask a question in a sec, but I'll just continue on the payment thing. Yeah, asking peers. There is like a standard kind of like I've actually posted this in the Discord before because people have asked me like what are the kind of general rates when you're starting out to shoot live stuff, when you're in your medium level and you're at like what are the levels and what can you kind of aspire to get to, what are my press shot packages look like, where did I start like 10 years ago, like so being really transparent with those I think is really important to help. And also I've seen conversations that have happened in other groups where I'm like, well, you definitely should be charging more than that. Like that's not where even close to industry standard.
Yeah, actually, now that you mentioned that, yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of that too, which I think is really nice. Like especially in the gals Facebook
Yeah,
group.
yeah. It's really important to me that people do value their work, because if they're being asked to do something for payment, it means that their work is of a standard, and it's really important for our industry to have an about industry standard, because it's not like it's an unregulated industry, so we have to regulate ourselves in
we've got to like stand up for ourselves. And it's like, yeah, I think you make some like really valid points there too, because like like especially as a person, like when you are starting out and like when you are starting to get offered like paid work, like they're really, unless you like have other people, like other peers to talk to, you're just kind of like flying blind constantly.
Totally. Nathan just said that's such a great resource. Is a featured post on this stream. Yes. So basically, you'll see a Nightbot that comes up. It says join the Discord group. Click that link and sign up to Discord. It's basically a chat that it happens outside my stream. So all of these people that you're seeing chatting now, we chat outside as well, and people can ask me questions or other photographers in the Discord. And we talk about this stuff all of the time. And Brit will probably post the link because she's a legend. Um, So yeah, we talk about this stuff all the time, and I'm really open, as are other people as well. So if you need to know that information. Steph said, "What is a cheer?" I'm not really sure. I've just seen them happen in other streams, and I just got 50 cheers. So isn't that good?
That seems like a lot.
I know, it does seem like a lot, and I'm very appreciative.
Like one, because it's got like the little fox.
It's a little fox. I don't know. Maybe Tristan can explain to us what they do, because I don't really understand them yet. I'm still very new. But Tristan did ask, I don't know if this was already a theme, but do you guys have problems being nervous before shoots? And if yes, what do you do against, or I guess to counter that is his question. That's a great question.
It is a really good question. Do you want to go first?
No, you go first. This is about you, my love.
I am a nervous Nelly constantly. And the thing is, like, you kind of just need to, like, internalize a lot of it. Like, you can't really just, like, I feel like, you know, obviously there's the first few times where you, like, your nerves just do come out because, like, you know, you're in an incredible moment, or, like, you get an incredible opportunity, or like you meet like a huge celebrity that you admire or stuff like that, and like the nerves pop out like that. And I feel like that's normal, but like at some point you just kind of have to be like, cool, I'm really nervous, but just put it all in here, or like tell other photographers through messages and stuff, but don't make it obvious to the artist, because like you don't want them to worry the way that you're worrying.
Totally.
But I do think that like
hey, there's a rule shot. I'm just seeing a rule shot.
Sorry?
I'm just looking at a rule shot in your
little
baby rules.
Huge
Baby rules.
baby rule, but huge rule.
Huge.
Like I was
huge baby rule.
I was unable to shoot that, like not that photo of him, but there was a different photo, and like I had to genuinely like I had to climb up on a table to just like get his whole body in a shot, because he was just too tall and too long, and the area was too small. He's so tall.
Paige was saying that today because she assisted on that shoot that Jordan did with him with the Cosmos Midnight thing, and she's like, I had no idea that he was like 6'5". Like, yeah.
You can't tell just like looking at him. You're like,
I know,
Rule.
he's a giant.
He's cool. Yeah, and then you see him and you're like, Rule, he's cool. Like, this is huge. But I think, with the nervous thing, I definitely use it to my benefit, because I kind of use it as adrenaline now. Like, I just kind of like thrive off those nerves.
Yes.
Like, I feel like it switched from being like, I'm terrified of everything, how do I handle it, into like just like you move it into another part of your body and you're like, okay,
totally,
I'm thrilled. It's gonna be great. And you just like you dive into it, and by the end of it, like you don't even, I definitely like have had moments where I can't even remember parts of it, because I'm just like, I just shot for 45 minutes and I remember like this much of it.
Oh my god.
Because you're just in like a different part of your mind. Like I guess it's just like a creative thing. I don't know. It sounds like such a like. No,
it's like you're in flow state essentially. You do. It's kind of like an out of body experience when that happens. Yeah,
exactly. That's the best way to explain it. It just sounds. I don't want to sound like very like my brain, but like.
Yeah, no, that's
very much like that.
I very rarely get nervous anymore, but when I do, I love it, because I know that it's a really important shoot, and I absolutely live for that feeling. And the last of two really vivid memories of being like that, one of them was the Rule show that we did in Sydney at what's the Horden Pavilion, which was his biggest show to that point. And I just remember being just like really emotional and really like just like, I have to nail this, like this is such an important moment. That and the Shawn Mendes show that we did, the second one I think, which was in New Zealand. Just being like, just when it's like such a big moment for the artist that you're working with and knowing you really need to nail it, that's when I get nervous. But I love that feeling. I'm like,
it's so good.
I get really like, oh my god. And Joel and I are backstage, and
it's so it's completely like, I just want to like 100% clarify this for anyone like watching. Like, it is completely normal to be nervous. It is completely fine. Like, you're allowed to be like intimidated by the moment or like the opportunity. But like yeah, it's, you end up channeling it after a while. Like, you just, I don't know, there's a moment where you're like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna nail it. I've got this.
Well, Tristan said I pressured myself so much before the shoot that I had a panic attack and I had to throw up 2 times. I know some people that really suffer from panic attacks and stuff like that. And it's hard to advise when you don't experience that type of, like, it's a different nervous energy, so it's very hard.
Different type. Completely.
Completely.
Yeah.
But I think definitely just having more experience, because what happens is then you just back yourself and you know that you're able to like deliver, so you're less nervous about the situation, I guess.
Yeah.
Billy said, MGH, I've seen Jess switch it on when it comes down to making things happen, always delivers the goods. What would you say are the 3 must-have items for any show or festival as a photographer? That is a brilliant question.
As soon as I saw Zamet Billy, I was like, I love him.
He's the best.
But he's too nice.
3 must-have.
I mean,
Britt said a camera.
Camera, yeah. She's not wrong.
Good start.
A hard drive, a camera, water. No, I think like in like honesty, probably like let's just like ignore like the obvious things like laptops and cameras and so forth.
Yeah, let's go outside the obvious. Hey Luca, thanks for the follow. Let's go outside the obvious like photography things.
Yeah.
What are the 3 other things that you'd bring to a festival if you were shooting a festival?
Phone charger, like a portable phone charger.
Portable, yes.
Yeah, like one of those, like they save me sometimes, especially when it comes to like when you have the app on the phone and stuff, and like that's your only like point of call for like knowing the festival's set times.
Jeff just said flash triggers.
Stop! Stop!
That's amazing. Tim's.
Powerboard.
Oh no, actually, powerboard. I'm totally down for the powerboard. Do you know powerboards?
But yeah.
Are so come in handy because you have to plug in so many things to the thing.
Exactly.
Thumbs up to powerboard.
So efficient, yeah. One of those like I never do it myself. I probably should. Like those rain jackets.
Oh yeah, poncho. Hector.
Yeah, like that you can get.
Thanks for the follow,
sunscreen.
Hector. Just yelling out, shout out, Hector. Thanks for following the stream.
Hello, Hector.
Hello.
Thank you.
Fashion photographer from Barcelona. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Lovely to see you here. Yeah, so sunscreen. Oh my god, there you go. I would have said lip gloss because I have a lip like.
Oh no, the first thing I was gonna say is lip balm.
Lip balm.
Like, no, that's too obvious,
No,
lip balm.
that is an
Everywhere.
comfortable shoes. OMG.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah. Actually, take out. I mean, like, if I can just add another one.
Yeah,
to
just
it.
add.
I love my Doc Martens. Like, I love them so much because, like, they're water resistant and they're comfortable, and I don't have to think about like worrying that my shoes are gonna get too muddy or anything because I'm just like, I'm super set.
Oh, I'm frozen. I'm doing like a little.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, that's so funny.
You're moving for me.
Really?
I feel like little dances.
Oh, maybe it's my battery's just about to die. That's all right. I'm going to put... Oh, no, I can just do it from here. Keep talking. You keep talking. I'll sort out my camera.
So how's everyone's day?
No, tell us what was the last thing that you just said. What was that?
Oh, just shoes.
Oh, shoes.
I love them. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I think they're like...
I look really flattering in that photo. Sometimes it freezes on the most that unflattering face where I'm like half talking, but that one's not too bad.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, when it froze the first time before like the stream started, like mine was just like me like holding my lip like this for like 3 minutes. I was like, I haven't been doing that. So what's going on?
Let's see if we can get me back. Hopefully. Oh,
I mean, going to Jeff's comment about the festival timetable being the phone.
Oh yes, what a comment! Genius.
But I never do it because I end up getting messages from like the festival people or like other photographers and stuff, and it completely like blocks it, and then it just like it's just more effort. So I use the app because then it just pops up with the thing being like, this artist is in 15 minutes.
Ah,
But genius,
yes,
just
yes.
slap it on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, do not disturb. That's a life hack, I think. That's
Mm-hmm.
so. Hector was saying I was living in London for 2 years and now I've come back.
Oh, lovely.
Awesome.
Barcelona is beautiful.
I love Barcelona. My husband and I went there for our honeymoon, and I was trying to plot ways to move. Oh, I'm back. Boom. I was trying to plot ways to how I could move to Barcelona because I loved it so much. It's actually before I was a photographer, but I'm like, I could totally learn Spanish and I could work in like I was just like doing it like the sums in my
Yeah,
head because I loved it so much.
it's so beautiful. I went there years ago, like 5 years ago now, for Primavera.
Oh,
Primavera
nice.
Sound. It was
Nice.
amazing. So
Um,
surreal though.
Iona's got a great tip. She said I take mini things of plasters or band-aids or what. Yeah, that's
I don't have it with me, but like
oh
I have
hack.
like a little Band-Aid tin. It's like a Mickey Mouse like
Yeah,
Band-Aid tin. I take that with me most places too for the same reason. Because like shoes, they hurt sometimes.
yeah,
Even when they're
absolutely.
comfortable, you can still like
I'm
get
trying to
dirt in.
think of little things that I take on tour that are like. I'm a big fan of. This is more than three, but the one thing I had to have was bus shoes. I bought these like slippers that were just for the bus. Like that was really
Oh,
important.
good.
Yeah,
Like comfortable thing. Yeah.
comfortable. Jeff said industry secret Michelle is actually computer program AI. Oh,
Um,
Anna asked you regular docs or Jaden's for a little extra height. That's a little bit cute, that question.
how did you know I'm so short? Is it the rule thing? Did the rule thing? I feel like everyone's short compared to him.
Yes.
Regular docs. I don't know what Jaden's are, but I have like 6 pairs of Doc Martens.
I feel like there's a photo on the screen at the moment which potentially might be. They're like got a bit of extra height in the docs. They're not the regular.
Ah,
Can you see
no,
that? Actually, these don't. I don't even know if these are actually docs, but they've got like the platform. Yeah.
I can't see them. I can only see the website screenshot
Oh,
thing.
really? What kind?
Yeah,
What are you seeing?
I'm seeing uh an artist that I took a photo of.
Yeah. See his
Oh,
shoes.
oh, you're talking about the shoe. Ah,
I'm like, look, the platform docs that he's wearing are like a little bit
oh
like.
my God. I was just like, Sam, yes. No, I don't have them, but they look great. But I also feel like they would make me feel smaller.
Yes. That's
You know,
interesting.
when like short people try to look taller, I feel like
I'm really tall, so I don't know.
I've accepted my fate. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
like,
fine.
it definitely has some negatives, but it has a lot of positives too. Like I can just like, especially in photo pits, I can kind of just like slither just because I'm so small, like through.
Matt just said he got his first pair this year, and I've been so far behind on it. I got my first pair of docs this year as well. So,
Love
like,
them.
as a
I'm so the
child,
same.
as a child of the '90s, like, I still didn't wear them. I was like a bit anti Doc Martens then because I was the only person that like loved hip hop at my school pretty much, and everyone was into grunge, so they all had docs, and I'm like, man, Doc Martens, whatever.
I can't do that. I'm not conforming.
I'm not confirming too, but
I'm not
now I
like
love them. They're great.
I love the whole. No, they're so comfortable. I mean, like, yeah, I have like
They are really comfortable.
regular
Yeah.
ones. I have the regular ones, like the higher cut docs. I have the low cut docs. I have the sandals, like the Blair sandals. I just bought another pair like last week.
Oh.
These guys, I'm in love with them.
Oh, cool. I didn't know
Yeah,
they did like a Blundstone kind of vibe.
yeah, it's quite Blundstony.
I like
They're on
them.
sale, so
I
yeah.
got this pair of docs that are actually a Joy Division collab, and they're really, really,
Oh,
really cool. But I actually hate Joy Division with a passion.
that's fine. You don't need to tell anyone about it.
I've just told my whole stream, but every time I wear them, I feel like a bit of a fraud. But they're the coolest docs I've ever seen. They're basically one of the Joy Division album covers is like, I can't even really explain it, but it's like this kind of mountainy kind of texture or planety texture. It's really
Oh, I think
famous.
I know the
It's a
one
really
you're talking
famous
about.
Joy Division cover, but
Yeah,
that's like the
yeah.
pattern that's on the docs, and they were the coolest things.
Cool.
Jeff has just said it's called Unknown Pleasures, so I'm assuming he knows more than me because I'm not a fan, but I love the doc, so they got my money anyway.
It works. The
Billy's
system
disappointed
works.
in me, but one of my
And
best
Anna is correct. They are the Chelsea Boots.
one of my best friends has tried to get me on the Joy Division. He used to just play me the music all the time, and I'm like I love you, but I just
Can't
can't.
do
I
it.
can't. I
I
just
think like I'm not gonna talk about the artists that like I can't get into because I have been slaughtered for it many times.
have you. That's
But
so
I
funny.
understand.
Sorry,
Sorry.
I think my screen was just being weird. That's so funny because
Oh,
I oh hello Chris, Crispy3 is following. Thank you for
yes.
joining the stream. Yeah, I mean, everyone knows that I'm like massively into hip hop, and sometimes I struggle to get, not always out of the genre, but there's a particular type of music that gives me anxiety. And I would
Oh,
say like Bjork is one of those people. Like I physically get,
yes.
yeah, I can't listen to Bjork. And I would also say that Joy Division, there's definitely something about it's got to be like a chord progression. Like there's, and it's probably what people love about them. But I actually get
Mm,
physically anxious. I can't listen to it. So
that's so
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So
That's so
it is
interesting.
what it
I can't
is.
think of anything that makes me anxious like that.
Ah, it's a
Um,
very visceral feeling. It's like very bizarre.
just like I'm on a whole other planet.
Yeah.
I remember there was a band I saw ages ago. Wait, I'm gonna find their new name because they had a not so great name a while back.
Okay.
They changed their name. Oh no, that's not coming up with it. Um,
Brit
I
just
think it
said
was
Brit, Brit just said she can one up me. She doesn't know who Joy Division is, so I feel
Touche.
touche.
Just typing in touche. That's not what I was. They're called Preoccupations now.
Okay.
Um, they had a name that was that they changed, um, and I saw them live like years ago, and I felt my body like just. I felt like my soul just like left my body for like 45
Oh.
minutes, and I was just so stressed the whole
Oh
time,
yeah.
so loud, and I was just like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that's like yeah, that's definitely the feeling that I get with Bjork. I actually went to see there was a really amazing actual Bjork exhibition at it
Mm.
what's that place called in Sydney? The
Oh yeah, I went to that the at Carriage Works.
Carriage Works, yeah, and it was that whole
Yes.
immersion thing, and it was amazing. And I went with Claudia, who knows my feelings about Bjork, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to do this because I know it's going to be an amazing experience, but it was very difficult to sit through because it's like obviously accompanied all by her music, which I'm sitting
Of
there
course,
feeling really
yeah.
uncomfortable, like going, oh my God, but loving the visual element of it. So,
You just like reminded me. I think I went to the DJ set at Carriage
ah,
Works,
cool.
and I just think I'm like 99% sure that we got tickets for it, and I just remembered being like, I can't see what's happening right now. Like I don't know what's going on because I think her stage was quite high, and she's also not particularly
Ah,
tall,
so you
and
didn't.
so it was just like we were just kind of like,
Ah, interesting.
what's going on? It was
Um,
cool.
Aaron said Bjork is the goddess with the voice of an angel. I'll hear none of this. I am
I mean,
absolutely.
I do love yeah.
I'm not denying that she does. It's actually not really her voice. It's actually more. It's definitely like a chord progression production thing that makes me feel anxious rather than her voice. Her voice is really stunning, so I agree with that. Um, um, what? Ah, Steph said metal gives me anxiety, so that's funny. Tristan said, how did you start this career? Tristan, if you scroll down on the page, I've actually got a whole YouTube where I dedicated a whole stream to talking about this, so you can watch this later on. It goes for about an hour or so. And it's, yeah, you can definitely hear that story, so I won't bore all the people in here that know it. um, No worries at all. Are there any last questions? Oh my God, we've nearly been going for 2 hours. I don't know.
Oh my
That just went,
gosh,
yeah, let's,
you did it.
don't want to take up too much of your time anymore, but if there's any
Oh my God,
last
it's been a pleasure.
questions,
I
you
know.
are actually also known as one of the confetti queens. You and Jordan are definitely known for your confetti shots.
Well, Jordan Munns is just like, he's so
Where
talented and
is
he's so
Jordan
fun.
Buns
Like,
tonight? I can't believe he's not here, actually. This is
I know.
disappointing. I'm just joking. Um,
I mean, I'm disappointed, but
yeah.
he's probably busy being very talented somewhere else, so I don't blame him.
He's probably playing
No, I
video
love
games or something. Last time he and Jared and those guys, Leo, I
yeah,
think,
Jared.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's playing.
the whole game
Yeah, see,
plays
he's
COD.
playing COD. Exactly, that's what he's doing.
Doesn't surprise me at all. I don't blame them either. Like, COD's great, but thank you everyone else for being here.
Yes, I know. So many amazing people in the stream tonight. This has been so much fun. What about what do you have you got anything exciting coming up? Obviously we still don't know when shows are coming. Um,
Mm. I think Brit just asked the same thing as you did.
ah, there you go. Bang, snap. Good.
Good chances. I have one shoot this Friday, which I'm very, very, very excited about because it was meant to happen in like March, but then COVID happened and then that all got pushed back. But we're finally onto it on Friday, and I'm so
Oh,
excited for it.
fun.
It's my first shoot, like shoot since like the drop, which got cut off
Yep.
like very quickly because of COVID. But I also did a shoot like a couple of weeks ago with Montaigne just for fun.
Oh,
And
cool.
then I did a shoot with Chloe today, Chloe with the
Oh,
X,
yep,
like CXLE.
yep.
Just for fun, like why not?
Why not? I
But
love
yeah,
that.
yeah, me too. And it was just kind of nice to shoot with that purpose, like just
Oh,
to shoot fun of it.
I
Like it's
haven't
just
done
so,
that in so long, and it is so fun. It's just go
and
out and
it's like
shoot.
really curating. It like helps you like get your creativity going again and stuff.
I actually miss that. I guess I did a little bit of it in, with little self-portrait stuff, but it's not as fun when it's just yourself. It's much more fun when
Yeah,
it's
'cause
somebody else.
it's weird when it's your own face too. You're like,
Oh,
oh,
I know.
I know this face.
I
I
know,
want to work with other people.
Much more fun when it's somebody else. Jeff said.
Canvas.
Jeff said that Jess, you are the top tier color grader in Australia. You let me shoot you, Michelle. You can shoot me anytime, Jeff. Absolutely,
Oh
I'm
my
down
God,
for that.
could you? Oh my God, could you?
Hell yeah.
I would love that.
Imagine that.
I would love to
Imagine
see
a
that.
Jeff Anderson Jr. bio photo. That would be. He's
Oh
like
my God,
actor.
that would be amazing. Like I imagine you in like a red suit.
Red suit. I would probably go orange, to be honest. This is
I'm okay with that.
orange. Orange is my color at the moment.
Oh, okay. It looks
Yeah.
like red in this
If it's the
frame,
light.
but I can imagine orange.
Yeah.
I like that, and it would work with Jeff's coloring too. I can see this happening.
Yeah, this could be a
See
vibe.
it.
Orange is taken by Gigi. Okay, fair enough. Okay.
We'll figure it out.
We'll
like,
definitely,
workshop
yeah,
it.
we'll
I'll be your
workshop.
stylist.
Yeah, we'll definitely come to a conclusion about this. This is happening. We'll make this happen.
um, yeah, I mean, like, I don't really have anything coming up because, like, it's just hard for people to lock things in without
Yeah.
knowing what's going on. Gordy's album's out next.
Oh, that's
next
exciting.
which is I did all the artwork in that.
Beautiful. That's so exciting when you're waiting for stuff to come out, which is.
So, yeah, it's my first album cover, so I'm very excited.
That's the most.
Yeah, baby's first
Oh my
album
god,
cover.
that's the most exciting. Oh, it's such a big moment when that happens.
It's a complete privilege and like such a crazy honor. Like I feel like people, I don't know, like I'm always saying like I'm so grateful and stuff, but like I actually am. Like it is such an incredible like opportunity to be able to document something on behalf of someone else's like creativity. Like
I could not agree more. Yeah.
Like with an album, it's so personal, and like for some people, it's like their entire heart and soul into like 12 songs, and like to be able to create artwork around that, like it's such an honor.
It's the
like,
biggest honor. Yeah. And the best thing is like if that particular artist prints on vinyl, and then you get
oh my god, it's on vinyl too, and I was like,
it's like, oh my god, it is the best feeling ever when if you get a copy and you're just like, I can't, this is like childhood dream stuff, very
completely. Yeah, I'm not ready for it yet. I don't think, like there's a whole part of me that's like, I don't know, like I remember being a kid going into Sanity and like buying albums like Britney Spears Oops I Did It Again and being like, this photo is really cool, but like not thinking anything of it. And now I'm like, what if someone does that with my artwork?
Totally.
Like, that's insane to think about.
Totally.
Like that you could be like so there's that, and then I've got the Alexi Astronaut album coming out in August too, and that I did that artwork, and I think I did I haven't seen the booklet yet, but I think that it's my photos in there too, so still completely crazy. I've had like I didn't expect two album covers to come out this year, especially like with everything going on. But like still, yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
Very, very cool.
that's awesome. I think that's a lovely way to end on a high of all of the things that you're like going to be doing soon, which is awesome. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming in. You are
thank you
an
for
absolute
having me.
legend. That was such a lovely interview. Hopefully everybody loved that and got lots out of it. We are, I think, I haven't doubly confirmed with her, but we're meant to have Ruby on the stream on Thursday, which will be
Oh, heck
actually a
yeah.
good chat because this week's creative challenge is astrophotography, and someone who knows how to do that very well is Ruby. So we can talk to Ruby about how she achieves that before the creative challenge Sundays that we do on Sunday. So,
Oh, I definitely need to check this out because like I
yes, you do.
no idea.
Either do I. I have no idea. So I'm waiting to speak to Ruby about that, and as well as her, Ruby being an amazing music photographer, so we get to see all of her stuff
Yeah,
as well. So
and actually an unbelievable person. So it's just like a
yeah, it's going to be really fun. Thank you so much for
thank you for
everybody.
having me.
Thank you. That was so
Thanks
great.
everybody
Thanks
for
to
being here.
everybody in the chat once again. Thanks for all the new followers and new subscribers tonight. I've almost hit the 75 goal again. I'm going to have to up it again. I had to bring it down to 75. I have to bring it up again.
I can't believe we missed the hype train
I know, it
though.
was so close, so close. Next
This
time,
close.
next time.
Hopefully on Thursday. Fingers
Hopefully on
crossed.
Thursday we'll get it, yes. And for anybody that's just joined, please join our Discord. I'll just pop the link in again. We keep chatting after the streams, and if you need to ask us questions, everybody's really lovely and sharing information, and yeah, it's a good time.
I know it sounds lovely. I'm gonna check
Come
it
and
out.
check it out.
And yeah, if anyone has any more questions that like they've thought about and they're like, hey, I should ask her that.
Oh yeah, I'll totally prop your Instagram in the chat so people can follow you as well. That would be, let me do that right now. Unless you can do it quicker than me. Oh,
I'm running now. I'm not.
no, I will definitely be able to pull it up and put it in the chat because everyone needs to follow you. So you get,
I haven't posted in so
either
long.
have I. I was looking, I actually just completely forgot. I was like,
Well, yeah, it's that, and also like I'm like, oh, but I just need to like, there's bigger things to focus on right now
yeah, the last thing
than
I posted,
worrying about like
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah. The last thing I posted was just the rally photos from, oh, my parents. I've got to respond to my parents. Messaging.
Oh,
I'm supposed to go see them tomorrow. I've got to go talk to my mum and dad. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Big love. We'll be back on Thursday night. Mwah. Big kisses to everybody. You guys are the best. Catch you later.
bye.
Bye.